Welcome to the Truth Report for March 30th, 2012, where if we see something, we say something. I'm your host, David Chase Taylor of Truther.org. I'm reporting to you live from Zurich, Switzerland, where I've applied for asylum since the release of my book, The Nuclear Bible. You can go to nuclearbible.com today and download it for free. As you know, Obama desperately needs a false flag terror attack before the November election, and we are trying to make sure that that does not happen. In the description of this video is a link to an article entitled Race War False Flag at NCAA March Madness, a Real Possibility. So basically I'm just going to go over this briefly. You can go look at the evidence and the links all for yourself, but basically Anonymous has threatened to shut down the internet on March 31st, which is the day of the Final Four in New Orleans. So basically 4 teams will play on March 31st, and then the championship game will be held on April 2nd. In 2006, there was a plot to attack the NCAA March Madness tournament, killing thousands with suicide bombers. Recently, in November of 2011, there was a bomb threat at Penn State University, and on March 15th, 2012, there was a bomb threat at the University of Maine, so it looks like they're setting up for something to happen at a university-type event. As you know, the history of NCAA is rich with massacres: University of Texas massacre, Kent State massacre, Virginia Tech massacre, and there's been a number of incidents involving guns, weapons, bombs, killings, murders, unidentified bodies, etc. going on at NCAA campuses. March 31st historically is when a plane crashed with the head football coach of Notre Dame University back in 1931. Also, just right after, on the Monday after the championship game, Jim Rohn, probably the most popular sports guy on TV and radio, is starting a new show. So I don't know, on the same network that is hosting the games. So interesting note there. Okay, so what type of attack would happen possibly? We're looking at maybe a suicide bomber or an acid attack. Acid attack is basically where somebody throws acid on somebody's face. They don't die, but they're disfigured for the rest of their life. And what would do more for or against race relations in this country if that type of attack happened? Coincidentally, just in the news is a Belgium acid attack from March 12, 2012. This happened a long time ago, but it's just going to trial right before the NCAA tournament. And also this woman that was attacked 7 years ago in a Pakistani acid attack just committed suicide in Rome. So just all right before this event. So it's a possibility. Also, it's a possibility is a suicide bomber in the stadium. Like I mentioned earlier, the 2006 plot to do that, there was just a suicide bomber was arrested by the FBI in Washington, D.C., which they had been priming him for. Also, this movie called Act of Valor, which just came out this year, talks about suicide bomb vests being sent to sports stadiums. So we know that this is a plan. Now, getting into the whole Trayvon Martin, Trayvon was murdered on March 26, 2012, and that day, Truther.org, we released a video talking about an impending false flag race war false flag that could happen. You can check out the information yourself, but basically we had the NBA All-Star Game, NASCAR Daytona 500, the Oscars, and Alex Jones' speech in Orlando, all occurring at the same time, on the same day. They moved up the events to coincide with this date. That's the night that Trayvon died. And there was an 8-foot fence built around the Amway Arena in Orlando, probably for a riot that never happened. There was a riot in Orlando a couple days before, and this was probably priming this whole race war scenario. The politics of Trayvon Martin, this poor kid, if he's not the biological son of Barack Obama, he's he looks like it. And I believe that this kid was targeted because he looked like Obama. And since he was murdered on this date that everything was supposed to go down, it's interesting because you know, you have this Democrat representative going into the House floor wearing a hoodie. You have the Heat players wearing a hoodie. You have Obama speaking on it. So it's obviously like trying to stir up race tension in America. And also the Nancy Strait murder. This is a murder that hasn't really come into the light yet, but it was a white couple that was brutally, the female was brutally murdered and sexually assaulted by an African American. And these type of things are happening all over. I can't even incorporate all the different race things that are happening. But when people begin to focus on the Zionists and the true control, people that are controlling America and what's going on, it's time to pull out protocol number 3 of the protocols of Zion, which is getting everybody to fight with each other. So that's what's happening. So Zionist Michael Savage, the 2 heads of the Ku Klux Klan have all predicted a race war. So when Zionists and the KKK agree on something, it's bad news. There's a brand new LAPD command center called Racer in LA. They've been doing military drills in LA. So obviously if racial riots happen, LA is probably the place. We have different people like Hal Turner, who is a neo-Nazi. Find out he worked for the FBI. Then we have Alex Jones, who's pretending to be a patriot, and we find out he works for Stratfor. So let's look at what's going on in Louisiana. There's been a number of terror drills going on, structural collapse drills, maybe the Superdome for an event there, also for a bioterror attack. We have this group called Project Exodus, which is a highly trained group of terrorists run by the government. It's basically a, quote, white group of ex-police volunteers. So we don't know if these will be used to attack. There was this major ignored terror warning in Mardi Gras that got a lot of media attention. And the Superdome itself, it's basically where the NCAA basketball tournament is going to be held, is obviously in Louisiana, which next door is to Georgia, where these anti-government militia guys were arrested in a bioterror attack. So there's a lot of different things that are going on. In New Orleans, we also have Bountygate, which is this whole thing with the NFL, where Sean Payton, the coach of the Saints, basically was paying players to hit people, and so on and so forth. So a lot of attention on New Orleans, where the game's going to be, and interestingly, the DHS and NCAA have a partnership together, and DHS has a partnership with Israeli, with the country of Israel, basically in 2008 and 2010. You can look at all the information there. Basically what it is basically that if something happens, if the Israeli Mossad attacks the United States, then nothing, they control DHS, so no investigations can happen. Okay, and just looking forward really briefly, Israel is the only nation that has not signed the 1972 Biological Weapons Convention. So if there is a major biological attack, either at the NCAA event or in the future, we know who to blame. And also recently there's been about 5 different incidents in Las Vegas, Arkansas, New York, Seattle, and Texas, where there's been shootings or attacks going on at U.S. courthouses. So possibly the next false flag, domestic false flag like Oklahoma City, would occur at a U.S. courthouse. And just wrapping up, if there's a cyber attack, like Anonymous has called for a cyber attack, we know that Israel has launched the Dooku virus and the Stuxnet virus, and so we know who to blame in that case also. And lastly, but not least, is the Obama assassination, which basically prominent Jewish media personalities have called for the assassination of Obama, and the Israeli newspaper Haaretz has said that basically Obama's election may usher in a political climate that could produce an assassination attempt. So we know what the plan is. Basically, I'm just encouraging people just to check this information out themselves. We know that the race situation in America is being fomented, it's being primed for some type of event to send it into warp speed. So we're trying to make sure that doesn't happen. Like I said, all this information is in an article linked in the description of this video. Please like and share our videos. And as I mentioned earlier, I've applied for asylum since releasing my book, The Nuclear Bible. And you can check out my asylum situation at davidchasetaylor.com. Our other websites, of course, are truther.org and nuclearbible.com. And, of course, Obama CSI, which is exposing the future assassination of Barack Obama. So, signing out from Zurich, Switzerland, David Chase Taylor. Peace.